Get ready for the next battle, ladies and gentlemen, they, them, sister, everyone else in between. My name is SPF Dark. We're coming at you live here at the CCA, bringing you our Week 3 matches for the night. Now, before I get too ahead of myself, I'm here joined by a very lovely person tonight.
Yes, hello. My name is Nikki. I'm here joined by Dark. We're here to cast a match, Division 3 match between Bash from Purdue University and the Coyotes Black of the California State University of St. Bernardino. Dark, any thoughts on these two teams?
I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not too familiar with either of these teams, but that doesn't matter to me, because I am always looking forward to see exactly how these players are gonna play, or these teams are gonna play, I should say. First thing to know I want to say is that, Bash has a 1-0 record as of currently. They didn't seem to be haven't played their second week, match yet, while Coyotes have their current sitting record of 0-2, which puts them in a little bit of underdog position as of right now, but I still think they'd have more than enough to try and take Bash down.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what kind of performance we see from Coyotes Black. You know, they're still looking for that first win of the season. At this point, we're 3 weeks into it. Like, by now, they have a lot of time to, like, really come together and see what they could do in the second half of the season. And looking back over at Bash, you know, they're sitting pretty with that 1-0 record right now. Obviously, not having a second match yet means that they're a bit behind in terms of scheduling. But still, that first win they got is pretty crucial. And apparently they seem pretty confident, because on the keys to victory section of the prep sheet here, they didn't list any. So Bash seems pretty confident right now, as opposed to Coyotes Black, who listed quite a few keys to victory. I'm sure we'll touch on them as we get deeper into the set.
Well, the first thing I do want to mention for Coyotes Black and their keys to victory is that is having better communication with each other, which I think in a game like this, communication is such an important factor, just like being well aware like what is going on and where your teammates are and where the enemy is. You know, that should probably, that's always going to be a priority in my own book. So we'll see exactly how that's going to come together here and see if their awareness is all there as they shade that they want it to be. But speaking for that first match, we're going to be heading into Rainmaker on Manta Maria.
Yeah, no, this is an interesting one. Fairly popular, I'd say. This is one of the maps that stuck around from last season, I believe. And looks like we're hopping right into it, wasting no time at all. I'm really excited to see what kinds of comps these two teams pull out in this first match.
Oh yeah, no. I saw Manta Marina. I wanted to bet that there's gonna be a bucket coming in, and here we're seeing the Tri-Slosher Nouveau. What I'm assuming, yeah, it's gonna be their premier cooler weapon off of Bash's side. Well, we have the N-Zap on over from Coyotes being their cooler weapon.
A lot of pretty typical stuff. The bow on the side of Coyotes Black is probably like the biggest wild card here. I'm definitely going to be interested to see what kind of things they can pull off of it. The bow going down very early, though. Bash has an early advantage here, I say, as the ballpoint goes down. Seems like both teams will just kind of play neutral here, try to find any advantage they can, and then go from there.
But these teams are just trying so desperately to try and see exactly how they can get this opening push going for either side. One goes down for Bash with cooler up on Coyotes' side. This looks like it might be their turn to actually start pushing, but no. One already gets picked with Mizuka. It's a back and forth trade as both teams are just desperately trying to get any sort of lead, any sort of inch over each other at this point in time.
Yeah, these teams are just trading picks like left and right. It seems like no one can get a clear-cut advantage. We're a minute into the game and no one has touched the Rainmaker yet. Although that was a 2 down on the side of the Coyotes Black. So if Bash wants an opportunity to push, this might be the best one they're going to get for a little bit. Seems like they're opting to play things a bit more slowly, building some specials, looking for a bit more of a clear-cut advantage before moving forward, though.
Most definitely, and as Rainmaker goes into Bash's possession with the Bubbler going out, it seems like they'll be trying to force their way through the left side, the main channel, as some might say. But with a Killer Well, that's going to be sort of a scramble to try and avoid that. But no, it looks like they're trying to break away, and that first checkpoint might be theirs, but no! Not just yet! They got shut down!
Yeah, that was a really solid defense from Coyotes, making sure they don't quite get that checkpoint. Bash is going to have a bit more of an uphill battle. They're going to have to pick up Rainmaker just to get, like, 2 points, and then they'll have to be stopped to pop it again before they can get a second push going. So maintaining that checkpoint there was really vital for Coyotes. And getting the 2 down there, seems like they have a bit of a counter push coming out here. Zuka online as well. This could be big for Coyotes.
Most definitely, and as another one goes down for Coyotes and trade in for Bash, looks like they're trying to see if they could be the ones to try and get that first dunk down, but no, it looks like with another pick from Bash's side, Coyotes are forced to try and stay mid to sort of stall out some time to allow them to regroup, but no, one of the players are in the backlines trying to scramble and to see exactly what they can get picked out, but they end up getting picked, and when they try to look out, that might just be a sort of stall out for the rest of their team.
Oof, that was a really big flank attempt from the shot there. If they got that off, get behind the enemy team, cause a lot of havoc for them, that could have been the disruption that Coyotes needed for the Rainmaker to really come in and find an opportunity to push in. Bash going 2 down here, though. Looks like Coyotes are trying to make a bit more of a push. There's 3. Unfortunately missing the quad opportunity, but it looks like Coyotes are opting to push it forward regardless. And they get the first checkpoint. Very nice.
What a very well hold by Bash to try and stall them out long, but it wasn't enough as Coyotes Black managed to get 3 down and push it all the way into for that first checkpoint into their possession. And now, as they're trying to reclaim mid and sort of reset to see exactly how Bash is going to try and push this out back into their favor, Coyotes Black is just slowly back on and gives them some space, respect to the specials, try and like time out those specials and see exactly what their next movement is as this Rainmaker resets.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Coyotes not letting up the pressure, finding another one immediately with that Zuka coming online as well. That pushes a lot of people on Bash back. Looks like the shot's going for a flank into Bunker. That key location on the map finds a pick. Bash is 2 down. Coyotes, they already have that first checkpoint, right? They could just rush it here if they really wanted to.
Most definitely, but rushing it might not be the play if you want to try and get a few more points on the scoreboard. But with 2 down on each side, this looks like 3 down on Bash's side. This looks like it might be Coyotes' chance to actually get a bigger substantial lead at this point. And that Rainmaker is slowly inching forward. And with another 1 down, this might be the push they need to really solidify their lead.
Yeah, Coyotes playing this very patiently, and it seems to be working out for them. They're moving up very slowly. Bash seems to be caught up in a feed stagger loop right here. They're all running in 1 by 1. Coyotes taking advantage of the stagger, just runs it all the way to the final checkpoint for the knockout. Really good stuff from them.
A very well hold by Coyotes Black to sort of stall out and wait for Bash to make the mistake, punish that mistake, and move up forward and keep going and going. And so Bash was unfortunately stuck in a sort of feeding cycle, as you mentioned earlier, and it just caused Coyotes Black to just keep that forward momentum going until they just got that straight knockout from that first checkpoint.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I can't stress enough, Coyotes really played that just super patiently, and it kind of worked out for them, because while they're just sitting there back with the Rainmaker, like, just as you were saying, stalling things out, waiting for the perfect opportunity for them to push it all the way for the knockout, right? Like, their first push, they didn't make a run for the first checkpoint until they were positive we can make it the first check. And then after they got that first checkpoint, they didn't push it again until they were positive they could go from that first check all the way to the second checkpoint, right? And I just can't get out of my mind. They played that so slowly, and it worked out for them, you know? I feel like on that first push, we couldn't see the timer, but I swear the Rainmaker probably didn't have too much time left before it blew up on them, right? So like they really played that slowly, and it worked to their advantage, because Bash was there desperately trying to find the picks they needed, but they couldn't. They never found that pick. And by the time their defense eventually fell through, it was already over for them, right?
Mm-hmm. And I will say, one virtue of playing slowly and stalling out is just the fact that if you're not aggressive enough, you're gonna stall yourself out and letting the other team push in on you. And we're gonna see exactly how that's gonna work on our next map mode combination for Clan Blitz on Robo Ramen. Clan Blitz being a notorious mode for stalling people out or just not having enough momentum to get any points for the entirety of the 5 minutes, making the game go into an overtime scenario, which may not be ideal depending on how these teams like to play.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Coyotes already have shown themselves in that first game. It seems like they prefer to play things a bit more slowly, a bit more cautiously, wait until they get an opportunity to get a really big push going instead of trying to rush it for multiple small pushes. So with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Coyotes kind of play for the long game, you know? They're going to take control of mid, they're going to hold mid for a good long while, really control the economy, build up multiple balls, and then push all at once for one huge push, right? Which is very different. Like, that's a very different strategy compared to some teams who opt to just run in one power claim at a time and like gradually score points in a bunch of tiny pushes, 20 points at a time, right? Mm-hmm. Anyways, I want to note the custom leader on the side of Coyotes. It's a Kraken weapon. It's Clan Blitz. You know, Kraken and Clan Blitz, it's like peanut butter and jelly. I can't say I'm too surprised, but I'm definitely interested to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, most definitely. The E-Leader giving Coyotes the range advantage, especially considering the fact that they have a pencil too, which means that they can't contest that E-Leader at all. That means Coyotes has the just sort of range to stall this out as long as they can. But with just like that, a surprise Zuka from the sidelines just managed to get one player clipped, and it's already turning the tide to the Coyotes Black to like turn the turn for aggression on their end.
Yeah, it seems like Coyotes has an early control of the clam economy, having, well, I say that as one just goes down there, so it looks like the table is actually starting to turn. Bash looking like they're wanting to move a bit more forward, placing the whale on the back line. They're really trying to move up and take a lot of space. The 52 gets a bit too aggressive, walks through their wall. Whoa, oh my god. Huge double with the Zuka.
A lineup shot from Coyotes Black just opened up Bash in just one game playing scenario, giving them 2 power clams in already, giving them 40 points within the first two minutes of this game. Bash already looking at a very sort of not down necessarily extremely bad, but they still do have like a bit of an uphill battle to go as Izuka keeps getting pick after each usage.
Yeah, this shot is making moves with their Zuka, and it's really important to get that pencil out of the picture, right? That is so obviously the defensive core on Bash's team, so they really want to make sure before we push, we gotta get this pencil out of the picture, right? So really smart usage of like using their Zuka to prioritize the pencil.
Most definitely, and it seems that earlier 2 went down for Bash, giving Coyotes Black the advantage to try and push forward and get another push going, but it got halted immediately by a stray bomb by their side, and now both teams are just back to neutral, just sort of poking at each other, seeing exactly who's gonna mess up, where they mess up, and where the opening is. And that opening might be a Kraken right under the clam basket, but no, they get stopped by what I consider to be a bomb onto the jump point.
I was gonna say, I almost feel like that jump was a bit too early. I think they were slightly out of range, being right on top of the bump that indicates how close they need to be to score power clam. So, but honestly, if you're Coyotes, you might be laughing about missing that ball. It probably wasn't intentional, because it looks like they really tried to throw it in. But imagine they get that ball in, you're just giving the other team a free pity, and with a penalty of plus 20, right, that ball you would have scored with the Kraken cheese, you would have scored no points there. You're doing literally nothing but giving the other team more ammo to work with. So them missing that ball with the Kraken cheese there might actually be a blessing in disguise.
Most definitely, and we'll see exactly how that's going to affect the rest of this game as we're in the final 2 minutes of this match. Both teams are still just hanging out in neutral, poking each other, seeing exactly what is going to happen, how they're going to mess up. And right now, Bash is looking to gear up to get a really sizable push right now as one goes down for Coyotes Black. Bash is scattering about, trying to pick out the rating of the team as they're pushed under the basket. They get another pick. I'm pretty sure that power clam is going to open up, and yes, but no! Coyotes Black hopped them almost immediately!
Yeah, that was a phenomenal defense on the part of Coyotes. I'm not entirely sure what happened. It looked like a bomb went off and killed multiple people there. But that was do or die for Bash. Excuse me, Coyotes, right? Bash had multiple power clams online. They had complete control of the economy. Like, it would have been a huge push of a lot of points. They definitely would have taken lead if they didn't get that defense. So that was really vital for them. Anyways, looks like they went for Kraken cheese again. Scoring that ball in this time, not gonna get any points though because of the 20-point penalty. So I'm not entirely sure if I agree with that play. They're just giving Bash more clams to work with now.
And that might be the case, but with Coyotes Black having the lead right now, they could just very well just be setting the tempo for the rest of the game. You know, they might want to try and stall this out into overtime and let the pressure build up on Bash's side and have them falter under the pressure of overtime. Especially with that power clam sitting under their basket, they have that one last power clam to fall back on in case they all wipe out here in just a moment, which may or may not happen depending on how well the scramble goes for both sides. But no, it looks like both teams are still just fighting out from neutral, not getting too much of an edge over the other.
I do want to note, it looks like Coyotes are really starting to bottle up on their ramp street area, and 2 of them went down. Make that the other 2 going down. That's a delayed wipe. This is going to be huge for Bash. Moving in with the bubble, multiple power clams online. If they score both of those in, that's the lead within the last 10 seconds. They get it in, taking the lead. Whew. It's gonna be close. We do get overtime here because they couldn't score in one extra ball or one extra clam in. So Coyotes are gonna have one more chance to come in, retake the game. They do have a Kraken weapon. If they could build that up quickly, they could just cheese it for the win. But if multiple people going down on Coyotes, it looks like they're not gonna have enough time.
This is exactly what I was mentioning earlier. Coyotes Black having a very solid defensive and passive play, but there's the virtue to that is like if the other team manages to learn exactly how you play around and how passively you play with the right aggression at the right moment, it can completely open you up and leave you defenseless for just a last minute push like that, giving Bash the game.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of teams, there's a very important distinction between playing defensively and letting your opponent just walk into you, right? And I feel like that's a bit of what happened to Coyotes there. Within the last minute of the game, it seems like they thought, we have a lead, they have multiple balls, let's just play this safe, let's all fall back onto our street area on top of the ramp, and let's just hold down this key location for the last 40 seconds of the game. But Bash, noticing that, seeing that they were all bottled up in that one position, they thought, they're holding back. Why don't we just hold forward, right? And so they did. They got that delayed wipe. They had specials online, and then from there, by the time Coyotes got back, they were scrambling to stop a push that was basically already confirmed. So, good stuff on Bash, taking advantage of Coyotes' more passive play at the end of there, managing to sneak away with a last-second victory. If you're Coyotes, hopefully, you're not taking that loss too hard. It always stings to lose a game in the last couple of seconds, but it's really important they keep their morale up. They don't take that loss too harshly as we move into Game 3, Splat Zones on Mahi.
One thing I like to mention about CCA is specifically is the fact that these matches are best of 7, so you definitely have a while to go through, and part of being able to win out these sets is how well you deal with the stamina. So 1 or 2 early losses, it shouldn't be too big of a deal for you because you still have so many other games to play out and trying to win out. So the mental is a very big part in I like to think anyways, the mental is a big part of this league just because how long these sets can go typically, especially if it goes to a 3-3 scenario, so you really got to be sure to not let those small you up too much. And as we head into this match of Mahi, I want to see how Coyote sort of adjusts with that falter in the last game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mahi on zones. This is it's a map mode that's had a bit of a turnaround, I feel. Prior to the rework 2 seasons ago by now, I think, it was considered one of the weaker map modes in the game, but a lot of people have really come around to appreciate this one following the rework. It's still one of the absolute smallest map modes in the game. Fights in mid are usually a complete mess, an absolute bloodbath, people dying left and right because there's just there's so little space to take and there's so few places to run if you get caught out, right? So it gets pretty hectic, so I'm interested to see how these teams are gonna deal with the nerves on this really tight map where literally anything can happen, right?
Yeah, and there is one band-aid, semi-band-aid to that issue with this map specifically, and there's this funny special weapon called Tacticooler. So with both of these teams be running that special the past few games, I'm pretty sure we're to see that in very much more prominence here, especially.
Of course. I mean, both teams so far have been pretty adamant about running Cooler. The best response to another team using Cooler is usually just to run a Cooler of your own, and it seems like both teams are really committed to that strategy. Personally, I love seeing Coolerless comps, but, it's meta for a reason. There's no shame in conforming to it. And sure enough, Pencil on one side, Coyotes pulling out, a Pencil of their own. We got a Pencil Ditto. There's going to be so many Coolers this game. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, but one thing I do like to see is seeing the Octobrush as well as the Mini off of Coyote's side. Those are 2 weapons you don't see too much nowadays. I'm sort of getting outclassed by different weapons who might have the same kit. But wow, already Coyote having such a great opening with 2 down from Bash already, getting the zone, flipping it, and keeping it under control, already getting a few solid points on their side as they're now just holding mid to see exactly how Bash is going to try and recover from this.
Right. I think what Bash really needs here is either to wait just an extra 10 seconds, because again, this map is really small for the first 40 points. It's difficult to move around. Once one team gets a score down to 60, though, it gets a bit more manageable with the map dramatically increasing in size. Although it looks like Coyotes are going to lose zone just before we hit that 60-point mark, so we're going to have to deal with the much more constricting Mahi for at least a little bit longer.
And an attempted Suka shot to the recalling Zipcaster seems to fail as now Bash's turn to sort of press advantage, keep the aggression going, but no, shut down immediately as one player tries to stall them out. It is now Bash's turn to be starting getting set on the back foot as Coyotes are beginning to regroup and recenter. And oh wow, that hammer just got instantly deleted.
Yeah, that if you're a Coyotes, that's not what you want to see. That hammer could have been vital for getting them back into this game, but getting canceled immediately. Their strikes also being largely placed to the left of zone. Another Zipcaster getting killed immediately as well. Coyotes just lost out on all of their specials. They have 25 seconds left, 25 points left to turn this game around. It looks like they're gonna have one more chance. What they really need to do is build up specials quickly and move as a team with them.
Oh yeah, this is definitely dangerous territory for Coyotes Black as Bash seems to just keep this pressure going and keep the zone on hold. And just like that, with one fellow flip, Bash takes this game from 100 to 0.
Yeah, not letting the early disadvantage get to them. They rebounded really well after that initial loss in mid and ran it straight down for the knockout. So really good stuff from the side of Bash there.
Most definitely using the aggression on their side, especially with. I like one thing I also didn't quite mention. I had the time to mention from that last game is that we also saw a Dreadringer. It's sort of very hot point of contention on whether people seem to actually like it or not as of lately. So I'm very happy to see that weapon actually get used and actually help the team succeed. So I gotta give it to Bash for that one. They did a really solid job that time around.
I was gonna note on the Dreadringer myself actually, but again, that game was just so fast paced. As you mentioned, there was hardly any time to bring it up. Although I completely agree. It's a weapon that a lot of people are on the fence with right now. Generally, I feel like the consensus is that it's mostly just a one-trick pony for zones. So naturally, on the most constricting zones map in the entire game, it makes sense to see a team pull it out. But regardless, who are we to dwell on the past? We're moving into Game 4, Tower Control on Undertow. I'm personally not a big fan of this one, so I feel like I shouldn't be the one to talk about it. How about you tell me a bit about this map?
To be honest, I don't think anyone likes Undertow. I'm gonna keep it really real freak with you right now. But it is part of the what's the word? The league that we're in. So we are forced to play the cards we're dealt with. So
right, no point complaining.
So Undertow, it's a very small mid. I think it is one of the smallest mids, if I'm not mistaken. So you gotta be very aware as to where you're standing and where your enemy is, because just a small mispositioning could very well lead to a one pick or two picks at the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, maybe a trade,
Yeah, I find in my experience, this is a map that has a really bad snowball problem. The second checkpoint is usually absolutely brutal to take, but if a team can get past that second check, they usually just end up running it all the way for the knockout. We have a Range Blaster on the side of Bash. I can't say I'm too surprised. Range Blaster and Tower Control is already a good combo, but this map in particular is one of the best maps in the game for Blaster, of how many ledges and corners there are to peek around. And also a Hydra Splatling on the side of Coyotes. Definitely an interesting pick. It's not a weapon you see terribly often in comp anymore.
Yeah, most definitely. All the conversations I've heard about Hydra is that it's just simply outclassed by so many other options. So there's no really real point to use it. But already, it at least got an opening pick where it got traded on its own. And right now, Coyote is seeming to be put on the back pedal at least a little bit, as Bash has the opening push and opening gambit right now.
Yeah. Actually, as we're seeing, Coyotes are running double Splatling here. Not only with the Hydra, but also the Zinc Mini, which is another fairly unorthodox pick. You don't see it terribly often, again, as you mentioned, because when it comes to Splatlings, some of them really are just built different. Some of them really just outclass others. So props to Coyotes for running multiple unorthodox weapons in the same comp. But anyways, looks like both teams are kind of trying to fall back in the neutral. It seems like Coyotes are trying to push here. Going 2 down, let's see how they keep this push up. They take first checkpoint. That's, things are moving along.
Most definitely. Coyotes having to get just a little bit more off of that push than Bash did, but it looks like it's Bash's turn to try and push forward and keep them on the back pedal, but one of their teammates goes down, meaning they can't hard push too much. That Range Blaster putting in work, poking from under the ledge, doing blaster things, and it's pushing evening the odds right now. We're getting surrounded. I would have popped off if they got that direct, but no, they actually get the trade and a safe jump out.
Taking advantage of the faster super jump from Cooler. Cooler really does save lives in that regard. But looks like Bash is lining up for a counter push here. They already got the lead. They're getting points here, moving towards that second checkpoint, which is usually the hardest part of this map to get past, I find. So they're really going to have to come together as a team, focus their specials here. They unfortunately go 2 down right off the bat, but the Blaster's continuing to make moves and then immediately jumping out again using Cooler. Really playing it safe. Probably the right thing to do, just because of how important they are on this map. Like, if that Blaster dies, Coyotes realize, oh hey, like, the Blaster is dead. That is the defensive core of this comp. Like, if the Blaster's dead, we can just push this for free, basically. Speaking of which, the Blaster just went down, so they're probably going to push it here.
Yeah, one thing to know is that Coyotes, or not Coyotes, Bash did not get that second checkpoint, meaning if Coyotes can get this second checkpoint right now, this could very well be a checkmate scenario, as getting that second checkpoint, it is a very hard thing to do, but once you do get it, it's very, very hard to recover from, and it's a scramble to try and halt that checkpoint take, and it looks like Bash barely manages to stall it out long enough for Coyote Black to not be able to, like, re-engage and retake, and just are being put on the back pedal as Bash once again moving forward, using specials to flush him out.
Yeah, no, if you're if you're Coyotes there, you're absolutely furious about just barely missing out on the checkpoint there, because there's such like a wave of relief that comes once you get past that second checkpoint because of how brutal it is to get past. So just barely missing it, that's definitely got to be a little bit aggravating. Conversely, if you're Bash, you're thrilled about that, right? Like, it's no second checkpoint, like, we lost lead, but at the very least, like, we have this checkpoint to play with, again, if need be, right? So right now, with, like, their defense pretty safely secure, they really got to focus on going on the offense and retaking that lead that they just lost.
Yeah, for sure. It's gonna be... this game could still go either way, you know? That second checkpoint's still up for both sides, so it's not exactly leaning one way or the other. It's still just a game of, like, who can outwit the other at this point. And as both teams get a trade off of each other, socials are being used, players are just engaging and re-engaging. 2 are down for Coyote Black, so this is Bash's turn to try and at least potentially take lead from them as we head into the final minute of this game.
Yeah, definitely. Bash seems like they moved up a bit too slowly, though. They had the advantage there. They had Coyotes in a 2-down situation, but they just didn't move up and take the space. And by the time they got there, now 2 members of Bash are down, right? So what could have been a good chance of them to push ended up getting a bit squandered. Coyotes has an opportunity to, like, retake it here. Seems like they're trying to get the tower into a bit of a more forward position to give Bash a bit more of a buffer they have to work through before they can start scoring again. It's a risky play, because by pushing the tower, you're putting yourself at risk. But there's a lot to be said about keeping the tower. Like, you're pushing the tower, not necessarily to get more points, but just to put it in a forward position, so Bash has to work just a little bit harder in overtime before they could start scoring points again.
Most definitely. As we head into the final 10 seconds of this game, this looks like it could be Coyotes' game if they can hold on for enough, but no, Bash is seeming to put up a very strong fight as they scramble to sort of try and keep that tower under control, and no, Coyotes Black with a very solid Booyah Bomb and take over mid, they take this next game.
Yeah, no, we have quite the set going here, loads of back and forth. You know, we're already in like a 2v2 situation, like it's looking crazy close, and I'm honestly super excited to see how these next 3 games play out. Well, with the way things are going so far, like we may very well have a Game 7 situation on our hands here.
Most definitely, these teams, they know not. When I don't mean the fact that in the sense of they have played each other in the past. I mean in the sense that over the past 4 games already, they've gotten a feel of how their opponent plays, so they're now starting to pick out and realize, oh, what can we do to try and counter this, or what can we do to try and adapt to that, and how they play. And we're going to see exactly how these adaptations are going to be made as we head on to our 5th match of the night on Rainmaker on Crablib Capital.
Yeah, I would say it's generally one of the more popular Rainmaker maps in this game. There's two routes teams could take, and it's kind of an interesting dynamic because the left route, you know, it's really enticing because it's right in front of teams. It's really easy to be like, oh my god, the first checkpoint's right there. Let's just run there and take it. But I find that most teams find a lot more success going the right route, which flies in the face of conventional logic, because pushing the Rainmaker over grates is usually an absolute nightmare. But that right route gives you such a better position to launch a second push from after that first checkpoint, right? Because it's really difficult for enemies to retake that top left position where the first check is once the attacking team secures it and really locks it down, right? So there's 2 routes on this map. Both are pretty viable, but in my experience, most teams find a lot more success going right up through the grate. So I'm definitely going to be interested to see what kinds of strategies and what kinds of routes these teams decide to opt for moving into this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be with how Coyotes have been playing a bit passively, more just sort of like letting the enemies come to them or letting Bash come to them. You know, I think it's hard to gauge exactly what route they might take. Bash on the other hand, they've been slowly adapting to that sort of passive play from Coyotes, are starting to lead more aggressively and just being able to like push forward a bit more strongly. So they could very well just stay on that left side, go on the left route, take that checkpoint, and just keep the momentum going. But we'll see exactly how they're gonna play out with an E-leader on their side, and ooh, Luka Dooley is on Coyotes' side.
Yeah, both of these teams continuing to pull out new things even this late into the set, which is, I mean, gives us a lot to talk about, right? Love to see the teams pull out more and more weapons as we go on. An early pop for Bash, that's a really good start for them, having instant control of it, and one of the players is going to have a quick special online.
Both teams are now just sort of fighting over mid to see exactly how they're going to try and get their momentum going. 2 hours down already for Bash. Coyotes has the advantage right now, and they're trying to flesh out the remainder of the team with 1 only remaining in mid. This looks like it could be a push for Coyotes' side as that last player goes down. Now that this decision, where does this Rainmaker go? Which route does this Rainmaker take? And, oh wow, an unfortunate DC.
With the Rainmaker just standing there, I was kind of suspecting we might have a calm error on our hands. This is within the rules. It happened before any points were on the board, before the halfway point of the game. They could just reset this if they wanted to, and they do. Okay, totally understandable. You know, Platoon Wi-Fi hiccup. It happens to everyone. $20. Get your cheap jokes in. We'll just redo it like nothing happened. In a situation like that, where neither team had scored anything, I feel like no one's really too upset about that. If that had happened after like one team had an early advantage, then there's definitely a little bit of frustration involved, where it's like, man, like we had such a good start, like why do we have to like redo this? But in that situation, like, you know, it happens. No point staying mad over it. We'll just hop back in like nothing ever happened and go from there.
Yeah, no, a quick reset. Nothing to be fussed up about. The connectivity issues with players and this lovely game. It's always a hot topic, and I'm always here just to see exactly what other players' experiences are. And unfortunately, it gets to the point where even we over here on the CCA cannot escape the occasional DC or 2.
Of course. I mean, I feel like every team has been there at one point or another, right? I mean, last season, the team I was playing for, in our very first match, we had a player DC in Rainmaker, no less, and then we ended up redoing it. Still won that game, but I digress.
Yeah, no.
So I believe within the rule set, it's required that both teams pull out the same weapons. Am I correct in saying that? Like, you can't change your comp after the game already started, or like on a redo, right?
I am not completely sure. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, the voices in my head in the chat are telling me that is correct. So there are going to be no weapon changes here, as both teams are already fully aware of what they're bringing in. Depending on how you view it, that might be an advantage, that might be a disadvantage. It's up to debate and to personal opinion at that point, and honestly, but at least we know what they're going to be bringing on the table.
Well, at the speed at which people are readying up, I'm imagining they're not changing anything, and according to this message from Neptune, who's our lovely producer tonight, yeah, like they're not allowed to change their weapons in between, like if you have to redo a game because of a DC. So there's gonna be no funny business of being like, oh, we know their comp now, let's like change ours to specifically counter those. You can't do that, obviously. Makes totally understandable. Seems like no, I'm mistaken. I shouldn't say that. I had a thought come to me about some things that some players could have done, but nah, like you can't do that.
No. What I guess was the sort of delay before this game actually started was just a talk and conversation between both teams to see exactly how they want to play out the remainder of this game. You know, they want to see your opponent's weapons before the game actually like quote unquote starts. It is both a blessing and a curse. So we're gonna see exactly how this opening might change based on how quickly that first pop was from Bash's side on the last before the reset. I'm not surprised that they already got that first pop once again.
Yeah, I mean, second verse, same as the first, it seems. They get that early pop. They get Coyotes into an early disadvantage with the Gluga's going down. Really getting pushed back into that corner on the left side of the map. Seems like they're trying hard not to get too bottled up. They find another one on the end zap. Coyotes are going to be without a cooler for a little bit here, which is going to give Bash a pretty good opportunity to push here. I say as they go 2 down.
Most definitely. Bash definitely had a very solid opening on their side, on their turn for once, but Coyotes just stood strong and held their ground and just denied them from being able to advance any further and already flipped the tables with Bash having another set of players going down. This looks like it might be an easy checkpoint for Coyotes.
Opting for the right route up through the grates, as I was saying earlier, most teams I find prefer to go this way because you get more success going this way. It's just easier to stage a second push, and it's so hard to get the attacking team out of that top left position. Seems like Bash tried to pop strikes there to force them out, but they got a bit rushed down, forced to throw multiple strikes up on their own plat, so they couldn't really get them out. Finding another one, the Rainmaker's going to reset though, so Coyote's going to be forced to fall back here actually.
Yeah, that is a very unfortunate thing about trying to stall out your opponent. Is that sometimes you kind of forget that the Rainmaker is on a timer, and before you even realize it's already reset and brought back to mid. But it seems like that doesn't even matter as Coyotes keeping up the aggression, keeping up the momentum. They have 3 down. Bash has 3 down, meaning Coyote has free reign to sort of try and see exactly how they want to take this approach once again. As specials go out, it seems like the Coyotes are keep this momentum going. They have their foot on the gas pedal as they're just going and going.
I want to note that a flank from the shot there coming around that side, using their Zuka from the off angle there, that was a really good way to force some people out, like, or just hit them from an angle they weren't necessarily expecting. A really common strategy, well, I wouldn't say it's a really common strategy, but like a really, like, good one, let's say, that's, I think people find a bit unorthodox, is sending one player up, like, through the opposite route of the main push, just to kind of take attention away from the main push, you know? Even if you're just a distraction, you take attention away from stopping the main push as the defending team all rotates around to go get that one guy who's poking them from the off angle, right? And it seems like that's what Bash was trying to do there, so good play on their part, the intent was there.
Yeah, I will say that right now with that first checkpoint down for Bash, or I'm sorry, for Coyotes, they definitely have the free reign to sort of set the tempo for the remainder of this match, and almost immediately, as soon as that Rainmaker got grabbed, 3 of Bash's players go down by Coyotes, and they're able to just capitalize off that and just keep them from getting that momentum even started. That Rainmaker's still stuck in there, trying to get any extra points they can, seems to fail, which ends up in a wipeout.
Yeah, no, I mean, Bash doing their best to try to stay alive with the Rainmaker. In that situation, the Rainmaker was the only one left, but unfortunately, you know, one Rainmaker versus an entire team of enemy players, there's not much they can do. So this is going to give Coyotes a really good opportunity to push here, using that wipeout to their advantage. Getting a lot of points there. That's a really big deal for Coyotes. If you're Bash, you're not quitting over that. It's definitely a beatable push, but on this map, you know, I believe if they had gone through the grates route, that would be like an equivalent score roughly. So they're gonna have to get past the grates and even further up close to the final checkpoint if they want to have any hope of taking the lead here. Which, if only a minute left in the game, it's gonna be tight.
Yes, most definitely. I will say for Bash, that's what I like to call a near knockout scenario. In order for Bash to at least take lead, that would mean that they have the free reign to take a knockout for them to take this game. So if they've gotten that far, then they can just take the game right then and there. So it's gonna be a sort of test to see how Bash can try and actually get this final knockout as we head to 30 seconds of the game. Fresh checkpoint broken, which is a start for their side as Coyotes are now beginning to regroup, get the specials online, and get prepared to defend for these last 30 seconds.
I mean, yeah, like, it's looking like Bash, despite having a significant, Like, Coyotes has a significant lead over them. Bash actually has quite a bit of momentum here, taking that top left position with a lot of specials, although Coyotes rallying, moving up into that top left position, forcing them out, finding 2, and then by then, the Rainmaker would already be set, so Bash is going to lose all their momentum. They're going to have one more chance to turn this game around, if they could even pop the Rainmaker, which they were unable to do, and that's going to be Game 5 for Coyotes. They're going to be up 3-2 in the set, at match point. Nerves must be pretty high on the side of Bash. Like, they're gonna really need something to turn this game around.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, it is not the end all be all for Bash. This is technically only their second game they played for CCA so far. So having a goal starting out your season with a 1-1 record isn't the end of the world, you know. While Coyotes, this is a more bigger deal on their end because they're currently 0-2 in the league. So getting this victory could very well end up leading to the potential just barely victory mark they need in order to make it to bracket, but that is future play. So we're gonna see exactly how the remainder of that might play out for Coyotes later on this league. Right now, though, we'll be heading on to match number 6, game point on Clan Blitz on Scorch Gorge.
One of the most cookie cutter map modes in the game, I would say, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, you know, popular things are popular for a reason. What is important to note about it being popular is that a lot of people are very familiar with this map mode, so strategies are pretty set in stone for this one. Like, a lot of teams are really comfortable with it, so I'm hoping we see a lot of, like, really rigorous, like, coordination that goes into this, because a lot of teams are so familiar with playing this one in a team setting.
Mm-hmm. And one point I do want to try and talk about right now is the fact that Coyotes Blacks have very solid defenses throughout this entire set so far. The point of contention here on this map is the ramp leading up to that fresh checkpoint. If you have very good control over that ramp, it's going to be very, very hard for the enemy team to try and at least take that fresh checkpoint. And with how Coyotes Black have been playing throughout this entire set, Bash has to try really hard to try to sort of succeed in breaking through their just absolute defense that they've been putting on so far.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think what Bash really needs here in order to, like, get past that defense is just to throw caution to the wind. They can't be afraid of Coyotes. They really need to be able to be like, you know what, like, it's now or never. It's match point for us. We got to get this win if we want any hope of, like, you know, keeping this match alive. So, like, they really got to be brave and just be hyper aggressive to punch through that defensive line that Coyotes are stalling them with. Because that's really Coyotes' biggest strength I'm finding. Their patience, you know? As you were just saying, they're so patient and defensive in their play style. And that's, you know, it's a risky strategy. Because as we saw in Clan Blitz Ramen, their passiveness kind of cost them that game, where they played it so defensively that they kind of gave Bash a lot of free space to take, which let them just punch through the defensive line for free almost in the last second of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But on the contrary, right, when they play that defense well, they're able to just keep Bash stalled for so long, waiting for that perfect opportunity to get one huge push. So Bash, I might be getting my teams mixed up. Bash really needs to be able to, like, they need to be aggressive to punch through that line on their own terms. They can't just wait for Coyotes to give them an opportunity, because that's what Coyotes is trying to do. They're waiting for that opportunity that Bash is going to give them in order to, like, you know, take some space, get some momentum, score some points.
And one thing to sort of really solidify their just defensive play style is that E-leader being able to wash over that almost the majority of mid, depending on their positioning, means that Bash has to be very, very careful about where they peek and how they peek the other team. And already a stray bomb from Coyotes manages to knock out a player almost immediately. And now Coyotes' turn to try and pull off this momentum going into their favor, trying to flip the table to see exactly how they're going to play out, as Bash is struggling, trying to figure out how they're going to get past the E-leader.
Mm-hmm. Especially, like, when the E-leader has Kraken, like, they're nearly unkillable. Even if you get up close to them, they can just pop that Kraken, and all of a sudden, oh man, like, I have no choice but to back up, right? So, speaking of which, the Kraken's out. They're going in for jumps. Sticking to this same chi strategy they were employing in Ramen Clams, they get the ball in, sacrificing 2 players, though, in the process just to score 20 points. Again, it's a risky strategy. You're getting points for free, sure, but you're just giving the other team more balls to push with. And, like, with Bash already having 2 power clams online, they're going to have a 3rd one from that pity. Like, they could have a huge push on their hands if they play their cards well. Unfortunately, Bash is going to go 2 down here. Coyotes as usual, their defense is rock solid. They find the picks they need. They force Bash back. Bash is holding on to their power claims. Like, they could still save them for another push, but they're gonna have to fall back into neutral and look for another opportunity before they could push forward with them.
Yeah, there is a thing of respecting your team or your opponents too much, which ends up just being able to like never be able to get on their aggression. And just like that, with a very phenomenal flank by Coyotes, 3 down to 1 player. Just like that, the tables have been flipped as Bash is already on the back foot, letting Coyotes to get the momentum going. But no, they got a DC. This is not what you want to see at this point.
Yeah, that's really bad for Coyotes. So it's before the halfway point of the game, and I believe 60 points is the cutoff before they can redo it, but I don't even, like, they're not even allowed to redo this because they already had 1 DC in an earlier game. Am I right?
I'm not entirely
I can't remember if the DC and Crab Leg was on Coyotes' part or Bash's part, but it looks like they're opting to, like, continue playing this out, which makes me think that it was Coyotes who DC'd that first time. That is absolutely tragic for Coyotes. Like, you know, they've proven themselves to be a good team, but a good team with only 3 people on it can only do so much, especially when there's over half the game left to go, right? Bash obviously taking advantage of the fact that Coyotes is down a player. They're gonna take a lead, get a wipeout as well. They could keep this push going if they want to.
Most definitely. The rest of the remainder of their team going back to collect clams to like, get that power clam. This might be just a short end right here for Coyotes, as Bash has more than enough manpower to sort of keep Coyotes back, keep them in check as their team gets more clams and to potentially end this game right here now.
And they will. Oh, that is just absolutely tragic for Coyotes. They had such a good start. They were getting the picks they needed. They got the pushes they needed. As much as that first push of Kraken was a little you know, scuffed, just jumping into the ball and killing yourself for it. Like, that second push they had was absolutely phenomenal, with the shot getting an amazing triple there, opening up so much space for them to just rush in and get a ton of points. And then it was like the literal instant the stars aligned and everyone was in like the proper position to like score a ton of points, someone DC'd. And like, it doesn't matter, like, especially in a situation like this where these teams are extremely evenly matched, like, there's only so much you could do to like keep a 3v4 alive. So, oh, that is just tragic if you're Coyotes. But I mean, maybe a godsend if you're Bash, you know? Like, I'm not saying they couldn't have turned that game around, but now they don't need to, right? We're going into that game 7. Nerves are definitely high from everyone involved. It's gonna be exciting for sure.
It definitely was an unfortunate event at the pivotal moment of that last match, but regardless of the outcome, we're here at a 3-3 scenario, game 7, heading into Slats Out on Hagglefish Market. A very tried and true for the community, in all honesty. Everyone loves zones, everyone loves Hagglefish, and everyone loves playing Hagglefish zones. So it's going to be this is the perfect test to end it all, to see how these teams play off of each other and see how they adjust and how they will adapt to the other team.
I mean, Hagglefish, in my eyes, really is the most stock vanilla map in this entire game, just because of how simple it is in layout, you know? It's a hallway, you got 3 lanes, left, right, and mid, right? Like, there's like no bells and whistles to it, no tricks, no gimmicks. It's just like a very basic cookie cutter map. And I'm not saying that's like in a demeaning way. I love Hagglefish as much as the next guy, right? But as you were saying, in being so vanilla, it really is just like the ultimate test of fundamentals, you know? Because pretty much every team knows how to play on a map as simple as this. What determines the victor on Hagglefish is who has the best fundamentals, you know? Like, which teams are communicating the best, which ones understand the game the most, which teams have the best game sense, you know? Understanding, oh, hey, like, once we take zone, let's move up to the next level and create some space. And then once we get another opportunity, let's move up to the next level and really try to lock them out, right? Those are the critical skills that really decide who wins on Hagglefish. It's not about knowing, like, oh man, like the key locations, or like this one particular sight line we can get, or like this one particular flank. There really isn't any of that on Hagglefish. It really just comes down to who is the better team.
It's going to be a result of just all the minor decision makings each of these players are going to be making throughout the remainder of this set and this next game, you know? With how cookie cutter this map is, you gotta making any sort of mistake could very well lead to just that small snowball, which just ends up turning into this giant avalanche of a wash if you're not very careful. So these teams have to be very aware and very careful with how they play, and just try and not make too many major mistakes, because that could very well just snowball out of control.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if you're Coyotes Black, you're definitely crossing your fingers right here that everyone's internet is stable and functional for just one more game. Like, you definitely don't want a repeat of last game, where everything was going so well for them, the stars had aligned, like, they were looking like $1 million, and then just disaster came out of nowhere, right? So fingers crossed, no internet issues. We're gonna have a good, fair, clean Game 7. Oh my god, I'm nervous, honestly. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, most definitely. I definitely am nervous too. We see a Hydra, not just a Hydra Ditto, but we just see a Blob on Coyote's side. This weapon lineup is I'm very much here for.
The Hydra Ditto is definitely gonna slow down the game a lot. Looks like both Hydras are opting to take the tent position up on top right. And it seems like the Blah Blah was also playing there. Coyotes is running a bit of a double backline comp here. Blah Blah being considered, I would say, a bit more of a pseudo backline, but it is still a very passive weapon. So they're going to have no... Again, like Coyotes, their best attribute is defense, and this comp really accentuates that, right? They are so passive between the Hydra and the Blobber, and they're going to have a ton of paint coming from the Blob, the Shot, and the End Zap. So it's definitely a good comp for zones where locking out a team goes a long way, and just barely not escaping that Suction Bomb. Yeah, Bash is in a pretty rough spot. They're going to have to come together as a team if they want any chance of retaking the zone here. Otherwise, it might just be a clean sweep for Coyotes.
Yeah, very strong opening by Coyotes, and a strike's going to hopefully try and contest the zone for a little bit longer. It seems the pain from Coyotes' side is too strong for Bash, as even though we get a flank here, this actually might be the turnaround that they need to at least stay in this game for a little bit longer, given the penalty points, and they do exactly that with 3 down for Coyotes. Bash is in this game just for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I want to note, because we were talking about their Coyotes' insane paint output with this comp they're running. Bash threw triple wing strikes and a Booyah Bomb at the zone staggered, right? That's about as much paint you could have in like a retake situation, right? And Coyotes have so much paint, they were able to hold zone throughout all of that. Like, most other comps, Booyah plus triple strikes, like, there's no way you're holding zone through that. And Coyotes did it like it was no big deal. So, I mean, they just have so much pain, and it's gonna make this a really hard uphill battle for Bash, you know, because they're just always down in terms of paint output, it seems. Despite their comp also being very paint positive. Like, Coyotes just has that much paint.
And the other point of contention is that it's just not how much paint you can put down, it's just by how smart you're putting down your paint, because the timing of those specials was very well the sort of make or break with how that last push went, because it was all those strikes went down almost instantly while the Booyah Bomb lagged behind.
Yeah, definitely.
But it didn't turn out to be that way, and now Coyotes has the zone once again. Bash is now on the back pedal, trying to see exactly how they can flush them out, and retake. But the paint is not necessarily too strong for them, because since they're both have even painting, they're just painting in a better way than Bash is.
Yeah, it looks like Coyotes, like, they had a fantastic start, but it looks like Bash figured out how to play around with their comp, because, like, they're definitely keeping this game a lot more even. Coyotes are trying to retake zone. They do flip it eventually, giving Bash a pretty significant penalty that they have to work through. But Coyotes' advancements have definitely been a lot more staggered as of late. Like, nothing like the 137 push they got within the first minute of the game.
With Coyotes having to lead right now, it is definitely up in their favor just to stall out and let the tempo go beyond their terms, you know? With Bash having to constantly retake a zone over and over and over again, it's hard for them to get any momentum and points going on in their favor. And with the wipeout, this looks like it might be a even a bit harder uphill battle for them to fight, as Coyotes are now retaking mid. They're now painting up Bash's side of the map and just trying to keep them out for as long as very well be the game-ending push that Coyotes gets.
Yeah, Coyotes smartly taking advantage of that wipeout, moving up to the next level, taking control of the far side of mid, court, whatever you want to call that position. Looks like they're falling back to get out of the way of the strikes and Booyah. Probably the right thing to do. Zuka online as well. Bash is throwing everything they have at Coyotes, and somehow they managed to hold on to the zone for like a pretty long amount of time. Unfortunately, Coyotes go 2 down. Bash taking advantage of that. They come and take the zone, finding another as well. We're within the last minute of this game, and like it could still go either way. This is absolutely insane.
Most definitely, this is the with 1 minute remaining, both teams are still desperately trying to keep control as long as they can. With a phenomenal push by Bash, it was shut down almost instantly by Coyotes, and now it is their turn to be on the playing field to try and keep Bash stalled out for as long as they can. And it might just be successful as they're almost done through the penalty points, and they're staggering out Bash. This could be it right here, right now.
Missing the kill on the Zuka there, that is absolutely vital. Like, this shot was really the last one who could do anything to paint the zone. So missing that kill means Bash is going to come in. They're going to retake zone. Coyotes really didn't, like, they got through their penalty, but they didn't score that many points. Bash is back in control of the zone, although with 10 seconds left, a significant penalty to work through, and then still 27 points they need to score. On top of how many retake specials Coyote has, they need to paint the zone right now, and they just barely couldn't do it. What a game. So much back and forth. In fact, like that game was really indicative of the entire set, I feel. Just so much back and forth. No idea who was going to take what game and when. But regardless, Coyotes, they're going to take Game 7, winning the set 4-3. Really good stuff from them. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with this team. I wasn't expecting... Like, for a team that has been 0-2 so far in the season, you wouldn't have guessed it looking at this gameplay. Like, they played very well tonight, I think.
It was definitely, the Coyotes were definitely the underdog for this game, and even though Bash, they definitely had what it takes to take this set over Coyotes. It just wasn't enough. Coyotes just played their cards very well at the very right times, at the very right pace, to sort of stall Bash out and keep them locked out long enough for them to realize, oh, we gotta contest point right now, or else time is up. And before they knew it, time ended, and so now we are left in the 4-3 with this set going to Coyotes Black. A phenomenal set by both teams. They got a round of applause for both of them. They did phenomenal today. But as I'm being told by the voices in my head, we are going to be wrapping up here in just a second. So my good friend Nikki, where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So I don't do a lot of stuff on social media, but if you do like the sound of my stupid voice, you can check out my YouTube channel, Nikki. I have a mission to upload every single Collegiate Splatoon VOD I'm involved in. If you like the content you see on the CCA stream, you'll probably like the stuff I make. But otherwise, that's really the only, like, social media-esque kind of self-plug I could do.
And as for me, you can find me at both Twitter and Twitch at SPF_dark. On Twitter, I just sort of spout random nonsense and report random nonsense, and on Twitch, I stream very rarely, but it is something I do want to try and get consistent with. But whether I am or not, who knows? That's up in the wind right now. But don't you guys go anywhere just yet, because this is the first of 2 matches here tonight. As we both of us sign off, there's still another set after us, which is going to be our Division 2 with We Aquatic Little Creatures versus California Rollers. So don't go anywhere just yet.